Johnny Besecker, the real Lancaster legend, a.k.a. Johnny French Fry. How you doing, brother? How you living today?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you guys so much for having me. I love the setup.
Absolutely,
man. Very professional.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're impressed with what you're doing, man.
Yeah.
So I actually decided to reach out to you because one day I was mindlessly scrolling on Instagram Reels and I saw a video, which we should. You mind if we put your video right here on the screen?
Yeah, that's
that
fine.
viral clip.
Yeah.
Boom. And it was like, imagine having your own basketball league in your backyard.
Yeah.
And I checked your page out. I'm like, bro, this is unreal because literally all my friends, all the hoopers that are from this area always talk about, oh, we should start our own league, do brackets, stuff like that. And nobody ever really takes it seriously. So when I saw that, I was like, dude, this is crazy. So at that point, I think you were at like 5K on the gram.
Yeah.
And
the growth is crazy.
I just recently checked. You're at like 31.5 or something like that.
I think that's where we're at. Yeah.
How are you handling all that, man? That's crazy. You guys been growing like mad.
As corny as it sounds, I feel like it's kind of one of those things you can't sit and think about.
Yeah,
or else you start to get overwhelmed. But the weird part was when we started to grow up, we went on vacation for 2 weeks, so we didn't play for a while.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad because we exploded at the wrong time. I'm like, how am I going to get content out for these new followers and people?
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's unreal. But it's just a testament to all the hard work everybody else has been putting in within the league. And, and finally it comes to fruition. So
before that, how steady was the growth for you? Like, were you noticing like a lot of traction on your pages before that, or was this kind of like just some crazy spur of the moment thing that happened?
Yeah, so our first year, it was just, we had 60 guys, 6 teams, and we had some videos and highlights we put out every week, and we didn't even have an Instagram. It was through the person who was recording its Instagram, and he put it out, and it get like 100 likes, nothing too crazy. But then last year, we had an actual like professional videographer come out, and we had 80 guys that year, and his videos would get like 7,000 views. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like,
so did you hire that guy?
We're going global here. But I mean, listen, I don't know if we'll ever listen to it. That guy's not with us anymore. He was tough sometimes with getting the videos to me on time. So, you know, we play every Sunday. He'd record Sunday. I want to get the footage till the next Monday. And it's like,
didn't work out.
Yeah, I kind of need that footage for the week that's coming up to post. And then this year, we had a growth like 130 guys, which is great. And then the videos that we were posting were doing pretty well. And then the Santiago No Shorts guy posted that video, and it was like overnight, just blew up.
That's crazy.
So now I know like we're familiar with the story of how the whole thing jump started, but like for the people at home that might not know, do you want to give like a rough start to like where you're at now? It's like how this happened, like how you got into doing this, like just what the steps were like.
The league as a whole?
Or like I guess like from the time you got the initial idea, or what was it that gave you the initial idea to where you are now?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I've always been like huge into basketball, and our court, luckily my parents, you know, helped get us that place, the sport court. We would host pickup all the time. Like it was just a spot for everybody to be at. And we'd always host stuff there. And it started when I was like in 4th or 5th grade. My brothers and I, we said, you know, let's try and start a league. And we bought, are you guys familiar with DHgate and AliExpress, like those Asian jersey websites?
I know AliExpress. I don't know the other one.
So we would buy these fake jerseys, and that was how we created our team. So I was the Sixers, and I'd buy like, you know, 4 fake jerseys for our team. And then we had we bought 20 jerseys, spent all my Christmas and like birthday money on these jerseys to get people to show out. And, you know, you can't get a lot of commitment out of people who can't even drive yet. And, you know, they're missing for vacation. And then for summer going into 2021, my brothers and I, we said, let's just do it again. I love playing basketball. We want to start a league. I knew I wasn't going to make it to the league. That's like our slogan. We say, if you can't make the league, make your own.
I like that.
But it was more just, I mean, to go into more detail about basketball and specific, there's not a lot of leagues out there that I think focus on the player. And just in general, any sport. I don't think it's a lot of focus on the player. I think they think, okay, we have a facility where you can play your sport. We'll supply you refs and a team to play against and a schedule, and that's it. Whereas with what we're doing, we're giving you an Instagram, highlight pages, jerseys, stats, the whole 9 yards. Everything you could think of that would be in professional sports or high school sports or college, but it's just on an amateur level with all of us. So that was what I think was lacking with someone like me who struggled after high school.
That actually wanted to take the initiative to do it.
Yeah.
Like other people, they'll just, like you were saying, like they'll just host it. They'll just give people the ability to go out and play, but not many people seem like they're willing to water the flower. Like they're trying to make it actually like a big thing in your area. Yeah,
I think, and I'm not calling out anybody else on that. Like, it's not something easy to do. Luckily, I have the facilities to do it, and a great friend group and great supporting cast. But no, I just think that's something that lacks in the world today with leagues that really focus on the player as a whole. Because, this goes for not only the best player in the league, but possibly a guy who doesn't even play a bunch. Like, you're going to be feeling like you're a part of a community for 2 months out of the summer.
I think it's awesome, too, to have an additional avenue for sports players rather than just like your traditional, you go to high school, you go to college, you have a chance of going to the league. Like, I like that there is a different pathway for players, especially in our area, to now take. That's awesome, in my opinion. Yeah,
I think that's honestly like an end goal of ours where, if you know you're not going to go pro or college at the end of the day, this will be something that you can do to keep you interested and keep you playing the sport. And I'm just glad it's gaining interest.
So do you think that, or what do you think that this can become? Like, do you have a big plan for this whole thing, or is it ultimately just something you're doing in the moment because you're passionate about it?
I'd say it's a combination of both right now. I think going forward, I'd love to. So we did football last winter.
Yeah, I saw it.
That's awesome.
We're going to do that again this winter. It went really well last winter, surprisingly.
Yeah.
And then this fall we're going to do wiffle ball. And then in the spring, I really want to do like a tournament-based thing. Like we were just talking about golf. I think that'd be great if we could get a golf course to sponsor us. We have a weekend tournament like the Masters.
Yeah.
And then there's an overall leaderboard standings throughout the spring season. And we'll do pickleball, we'll do tennis, we'll do all sorts of sports like that where it's more individual.
Yeah.
And that's where I want to become, like you were saying, the alternate avenue where we're the main amateur league within the Lancaster community, and then going forward, maybe Philly, maybe Baltimore. Yeah. So that's our goal.
What's awesome about it is like the entertainment value that you guys are bringing, because like you have like the NBAs, the NFLs, and like those are where primarily people are forever going to want to go. But I think like as a society, we're moving more in a direction of people just want to be entertained, and they want new things to be entertained by. So like, I don't know. I think it works out perfect for you, especially if you could find a way to explore all the different avenues of different sports. I didn't know that was an interest of yours. I knew you guys were like doing the football and the wiffle ball, but doing some kind of, or having something similar to what you guys do, but in all the sports, I think like that's a really cool business model for you guys going forward.
Yeah. I mean, everybody loves to play sports, or just even if you don't like to play the sport, you're really a part of a team for and just a community. I mean, we have burner accounts of people. We have burners on Twitter where people just randomly make up rumors and say they want to be traded or they want to be a free agent or retiring. It's just really what the community wants to make it, and that's what I think so special about it.
Shit. Go ahead, sorry.
No, you're fine. I think that's what's so special about the league is everybody is getting a chance to have a platform and do something that they wouldn't be given otherwise. Where like we have reporters in our league. None of them have any professional background, but they in a way are getting this experience through being in the league because it's almost a fake, but I don't want to say fake because they're actually doing it, but it's just a platform for them to try and get experience and maybe hopefully put on the resume and move forward.
That's why I was interested in asking you like where you planned on taking this, because I'm wondering if at any point this can become something of like a stepping stool for athletes to maybe get to the higher level, or it could be for videographers or for people who wanted to get into analysis or announcing or anything like that, because it seems like it's legit.
Yeah.
So when people come across it, like they might take it really seriously. I think a lot of people are taking it really seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super glad you even noticed that, because that's why I think there's a great space for really, I mean, in my point of view, I think with people want to get into reporting, it's like there's professional and then there's training for it. There's not really an in-between ground where you can gain experience or like an internship.
Yeah.
Whereas with this,
it's all right. We'll cut this out. I'll cut this. I'll actually remember this time.
Mad, bro. Mad.
No, you're fine.
How the fuck does that happen?
That was funny.
Where are we at though? Sorry about that.
No, I just with like announcing. Let's take that for example. Yeah. I mean, there's not really any other space besides the professional grounds where you can be training to do it. Where with our league, we have a guy who wants to be a reporter and wants to move on, Toby Prime. I mean, he's incredible at what he does.
Yeah.
Shout out Toby Prime.
Yes, shout out Toby Prime. It's a shame that he doesn't have an actual
That's
full-time
a reporter
job.
name too. Toby Prime.
He does have a great name for it.
Yeah.
But like, and we have a weekly show, Prime Takeaways. Like,
that's
the
tough.
possibilities of the last name is endless.
That's sick.
But he is fantastic with this job. But I think he went to Penn State. It's a huge,
right?
Like, there's so many people to pick from there, and there's not a lot of chances to really stick out. But with this league, he's announcing, he's writing blogs, he's doing the weekly show, he's getting a chance to prove who he is.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so great about this league is it's not just Toby Prime that's going to prove who he is. It's the other people in the league. It's, maybe the basketball players, if they want to collect their highlights and send it out to somewhere. Again, it's really all about creating a platform that can be a stepping stone for other people down the line.
And what's that process been like for you so far? Like, is it overwhelming? Is it I'm sure it's complicated, but like, what is like the in-depth scoop of like what that looks like for you? Like, how are you managing all of that?
And playing in the league too.
Yeah, that's another part that's crazy.
It's I don't know. I love it because it's just seeing other people, like your friend. So right now it's really mostly just close friends of mine that are working close. I'm sure down the line, hopefully if we could grow and it'll be strangers. But I'm so happy for him to see these people grow in their own respective arts or passions. And I love it. Now, granted, playing in the league, like you said, that's a little tough when you're like
managing the whole thing.
Yeah. So this past Sunday, our stream went down as I was playing in our game.
Ah, wow.
And it's, you're playing the game, and then next thing you know, you got to put your commish cap on and go over there, take yourself out of the moment. It's a 10-point game. There's 5 minutes left. You're trying to stay motivated, but it's like at the same time, you got to be level-headed when you're dealing with, people who don't really know what they're doing. But I love it because I just think it's a bit, you're juggling a bit, but you're helping a lot of people out.
What skill sets do you think allow you to be able to do stuff like that? Like, I take you as a guy who probably understands business pretty well and probably understands logistics and stuff like that pretty well to be able to wear all of these different hats.
Yeah.
Athlete, commissioner, you're working with different videographers and refs and you're organizing this whole thing. So there's a few different skill sets that need to be kind of deployed to make this whole thing happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm by no means the smartest guy. I'm definitely not the smartest guy in this room. I think there's a lot of stuff that I did that was just a baptism by fire, trial and error. I would,
baptism by fire, was it?
I don't know. It's just, I heard it once and I stuck with it.
Baptism by fire. Let's put a picture of it.
If you can find one of those.
It's not always easy. It's difficult.
Right.
You're really just learning on the go.
Yes.
And I still don't know what I'm really doing, but in talking with videographers and photographers over time, you learn how expensive they are, or what you can expect from them, and then in terms of talking with refs, you build a relationship with them over time, and sponsors. So it's really just, I didn't know a lot going in. I still don't know a lot, but you're learning throughout the whole process of it all, and trying to take from previous experiences into the future.
Do you get any leeway from the refs when they're
no,
when they're doing your games? Like if you get a quick foul, you just nudge them real quick. Like, buddy, you're not getting paid this game if you
slip a five in his fucking pocket.
No, trust me. I think it's honestly the inverse.
They go harder on you?
They try to do a little extra to make it seem like they're not. But that is the most common thing I hear during the games is, well, he's paying the refs. Of course he's getting these calls. And every time I hear it, I'm like, come up with something original. Like, I hear this every week. Something original.
Do those games ever get heated? Like, have you ever had to break up a fight or something on the court before?
I wouldn't say a fight. I mean, last game we had an ejection.
Oh, really? Nice.
First one in BBAL history?
No, we've had a few. We've had quite a few, yeah. My brother's been ejected twice now. Actually, 3 times.
What did he do? What's the offense?
Tarnishing the brand.
So, the first year of the league, he got ejected because it was actually very funny.
This Liam, the kid who plays at Temple?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
It was actually he got a rebound over, it was playing against my team. I remember he got a rebound over my buddy KJ. And he grabs the ball. They call an offensive foul on him for trying to get a rebound. He slams the ball on the ground. That's a technical. It went over his head, slams the ball on the ground, and they blew a whistle, and my brother screams, "That's a weight room issue." And then the guy said, "All right, you're out of here." And my dad's sitting sideline yelling at him, like, "Liam, shut up. Like, don't stop yelling."
That's jokes.
And,
that's so funny.
And this year, I think he got ejected this year. Yeah, he got into like a little tussle, but it was nothing was going to come out of it. It was just a little
that's the
shoving
typical
match.
football player playing basketball.
100%.
Oh yeah.
Like getting rebounds and like doing this shit.
What's awesome though is like the
yeah.
NBA is not fining you fucking $50,000 for acting that way. So honestly, it's probably beneficial for you guys, like when crazy shit like that pops off.
Oh, it's great. I mean, well, the first game of the year, my cousin, Kurt Goldbach, was on the Bullies, which is my brother's team.
The Bullies.
And,
makes sense.
Yeah,
Good name
it
for
all
that
makes
squad.
sense. Yeah, but I'll give Lean credit. He sticks to the brand.
Yeah.
But I just with all families, I'm sure you guys are the same way. Like everybody butts heads. You get into arguments here and there, and sometimes it's not the best to be on the team with the family.
Yep.
So my brother and my cousin are on the same team. He's upset about playing time. My brother snaps back at him. My cousin says, "All right, I'm done. Like, I retire." He goes up to his stream camera. He says, "I'm done. Like, I retire. I'm done with the Bullies." Goes to the sideline, starts cheering for the other team, takes his jersey off.
Damn.
And it's all recorded by one of our reporters, Grant Hall, Sports Stop. We're going to shout him out. He did a great
Shout
job.
out Sports Stop.
That's what blew up first in our league. And it got like 200,000 views, 7,000 likes. And we, freaking out after the first week. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Dude,
I'm going to be all over the news.
Yeah.
the dinner conversations at your house must be insane.
Yeah, no.
Oh, they're hectic.
Like one day
you get the whole family there, there's going to be something.
Crazy.
But, obviously at the end of the day, it's all love.
Yeah, no, that's
dope, bro.
Yeah,
that's an awesome dynamic you guys
Yeah,
have. The whole fam's involved.
Yeah, I'll go down the line. My dad, he's like the head honcho.
Yeah.
The whole thing, setting it up. He announces the games. He loves to announce. Yeah.
Backbone.
Yeah, he loves announcing the games. I mean, I don't even know if he'll admit it, but he is so passionate during it. It's
That's
like
awesome.
He's kind of a hard-headed guy. Not saying he's the nicest guy in the world, but he comes off rugged.
Yeah.
When he
Man in the house.
when he announces this energy, I've never seen it in my life. It's coming out of nowhere. He's giving people nicknames. My mom, she's like helping me throughout the whole day process, making sure everything's set. She created the logo.
That's awesome.
Like, if you think of the artistic view of the league, the red, white, and blue, our basketballs are red, white, and blue. The nets are red, white, and blue. We are everything.
That's awesome.
It's all through her.
Yeah.
And then
red, white, and blue. That's like
yeah. Now the tie-dye, that was a little bit of my touch.
This is so, by the way.
Check the threads out.
Even
check
if you're not a
threads.
Lancaster
Like
native, go
Ash
cop
Ketchum.
some merch.
Yeah, it's great merch. Great merch.
And look at this shirt too.
Great quality.
That's
Super
fire. The design's actually super tough on that. I really like it. But
Shout out Mark.
That's one thing I noticed about your guys' like whole organization though, is it seems like the family unit you guys have is crazy. I believe I was on I think it was your webpage, and you were talking about obviously you're talking about how your dad's like the mastermind. He's like the guy behind the scenes, the backbone. Yeah. Your mom, she's like walking up, she's talking to all like the fans in the crowd, making sure you got a smooth operation running. I believe it was your sisters or just your sister and her friend that do like was it post-game commentary or?
Well, so my sister, she does a scoreboard every game.
Okay.
She's, I don't think she's ever missed a game. And listen, have you ever been to like an AAU tournament?
Yeah, I used to play AAU.
Oh, well, you know how parents get when the score's wrong?
Oh, yeah.
She has to deal with a lot of stuff with people saying the score's wrong. And she is not somebody you want to mess with when it comes to,
Pitbull kind of cat?
Yes, 100%. She'll let you know. She'll say, no, I'm right.
Yeah.
And then give you a look, and then you're wrong.
You need that.
Yeah. So she's great at what she does. And then my girlfriend, actually, I don't know how I ended up with her. She's the best. She should leave me, honestly. But she helps with all the stats every game. She created this. This is beyond me, but she coded this thing where I can upload all the stats into a database, and then it collects all the averages and your field goal percentage and all this stuff. I don't know how she did it, but she did it and did an amazing job.
You got to marry her, bro. She's a coder. I think you locked it in.
Yeah. I may be a stay-at-home dad here.
Playing basketball.
Rocking the gear, though, right? Dribbling the ball.
Yeah. But, it's just a whole family dynamic. And then my older brother, I didn't even mention him, Jebby. I mean, he won captain of the year. He's just pure entertainment from the standpoint of, like, he'll make trades. He sees himself as, like, what's the old Bulls owner's name? Jerry Krause?
Oh, I don't know. Can we check that? Brian, you want to look that up real quick?
Come on, Captain Brian.
The former owner of the Bulls.
Yeah, but him. I think it's Jerry Krause. But
Jerry Krause. Yeah, I'm not familiar. I'm into basketball. One thing about basketball is I love watching it in person, but in terms of following like the NBA, that's like something I really don't do. The only sport. Go ahead. You got it.
Assam Alum?
Ask him out.
No. Look up during Michael Jordan's time.
So like the 1990s.
Yeah, 1990s.
But yeah, I'm not a huge follower of basketball. I never really was. I don't know why. Because basketball is a very interesting sport. Like I said, it's probably my #1 favorite sport to watch in person, at least of the sports I've been to. I'm sure like going to a UFC fight or something would be crazy.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite sport's football, and I know like watching football in person is nowhere near as fun as watching a basketball game.
Yeah. Are you an Eagles fan?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
Good.
You too?
Huh?
Rainsdorf? That's not looking. I'm seeing Jerry Rainsdorf.
No. What'd you say his name
I
was?
thought it was Jerry Krause.
Just look up Jerry Krause. See
look
Jerry
up,
Krause.
Look up Bulls GM,
General
Like-
manager.
like 1990s. Chicago Bulls.
Oh, Jerome Krause.
Jerome Krause.
Yeah. I mean,
Jerry Jerome.
yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
is he like a white kind of chubby guy?
I'm not saying that. I just got
Images. Go to images.
Oh.
Would you ask ChatGPT? You probably did.
Yeah. So I'm not saying my brother is skinny, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying when in regards to he's not afraid to make moves, you know,
Yeah.
sit people on the sideline. He's not much of a force himself into play kind of guy. He's a
Yeah.
coach, captain coach, but yeah.
So now, like, are you just letting virtually everybody just handle their part, or like, how is the overseeing aspect of that all? Like, how do you make it so that it's being executed in the way that you want it to, but as well as like everything running smoothly, giving everybody their own opportunity to like shine and just give their own value in their own way?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the captains, we have 10 captains,
Yeah.
and they're all people who are very close friends of mine or my brothers. Two of them are my brothers, and very close friends of mine and people I trust.
Yeah.
And I know will communicate with me when things go down. I can't keep track of the 130 guys. Nobody can. So when each team gets divided up, I
Yeah.
say, look, this is your squad. You can trade them. You can do whatever you want with them. You create your team name, your colors.
Yeah.
We'll figure out a logo for you. And that's kind of what we did. And we gave them all the free reign to do with what their team, what they will. But, you know, if we need to have a community, like I see them as sort of a board members. We're all like knights at the round table. We all
Yeah.
kind of hold equal weight in terms of everything. We vote on everything. If there's any controversy, it's not just, I won't just sit in there and I'll say, I think this should be it. I think it should be a vote for everything because, you know, other people have different perspectives
Yeah.
as to why something should be one way or the other. But I really try to let the captains have free reign on what they want to do with their team or in the league.
This thing is really systemized, huh? Like you guys have created a machine here.
Yeah, I think it's also it's a testament to them too because they don't have to do this. They're spending their free time trying to keep track of these kids that they don't really know. And that's the other beauty, to get off topic, but that's the other beauty. All of us, there's so many people I became friends with in this league that I have no idea who they would have been before. Yeah. And I'm so lucky that they had interest in coming. But yeah, it really, again, it all just came through trial and error. Just it forced itself into this.
Now, the actual players themselves, where are you guys? You said you have, 130 people now?
Yeah.
Where are you guys finding these people from primarily? Like, I'm sure you might know a few of them, but, like, are you guys recruiting from anywhere, like colleges, high school? Like, what's, like, also another question, I guess, is, like, what's the age demographic like? Like, is there a minimum age
No,
that you can pull from? No?
but it's mostly just interest. So right now, I'd say it's like 18 to 30 is probably our range. But 100 people out of the league we probably knew or at least heard of. And then the other 30 were, kids that we weren't too familiar with. But it was just word of mouth or who follows our Instagram, and they just registered. And that's kind of how we went about it.
Yeah.
And then we had a full draft process.
That's insane.
That was a lot of fun for us because we all sat down, picked a date where we all knew we'd be available, and wanted to, obviously if you're all in the same draft room, it makes it a lot more interesting.
And that's like all the players too, like everybody in
No,
person?
not the
Just
players. Just the captains.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we ever released the actual draft sheet of who was drafted when and where because, you don't want to.
Controversy.
Y'all should start, I know it's that time of year, y'all should start like some kind of fantasy league where motherfuckers
That would be crazy.
That would be nuts.
That was that we were trying to figure that out. There was someone who reached out to me about that, and he had this whole algorithm and everything, this platform where you could do it, but it was just
a lot that goes into that, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was a lot of money.
Yeah, well, that's the scariest part.
And I just couldn't afford it, but I thought it'd be so cool to have
Well, so this current summer, it has 131 players.
Yeah.
What was it at last summer, or was it around?
It was
last
80.
summer? 80 players. Okay,
Wow.
so what do you think is going to happen next summer?
So when our TikTok blew up, my cousin Kurt, I'll give him credit for this one. He said we should create a registration sheet and just throw it up, and hopefully people see it and register. So
Yeah.
on our website, right as you click on our website, there's a registration opportunity, and right now we're at 260,
Oh my god!
and that's not including the 130 in the league.
So it's the 130 plus an additional 260.
Yeah, so we
Oh.
like.
Dude, how
we
you
have our
gonna handle
hand.
that?
We don't
How
really
do
know.
Because like, how many teams do you already have? You said
10.
you went from 80 to 130 this year. So you just have people like it was the same amount of teams. You just have more people on the bench now, right?
We think
You're gonna have to
Sorry,
make more
the burp.
teams probably.
Yeah, what we're thinking is we're going to do an A and B division
Uh,
because there's obviously going to be some people who
East
think.
and West.
Well, it's more in terms of the skill level.
Yeah.
So if you think you want to be in the A division and you can hang with those guys, you'll be in there. We may get rid of the draft process just because these 260 guys, we had no idea who they are. And, you know, I could be in the 5th round drafting somebody who's never played a second high school basketball, and then in the 10th round, I'm drafting somebody who played D1, and
Yeah.
I'd have no
Yeah.
idea.
yeah.
So we're going to make it so it's you put your team in, and we'll have an A and B division. But my brother, Liam, thinks we should do a Founders League. So there'll be an A, B, and Founders, and the Founders will be everybody who's played in the league in the first 3 years, and we'll do the draft over again with that same pool of 130 guys.
I wonder if there's any way that you guys can do some type of, like, tell me about your background playing basketball before you register so that you can get a feel for, like, what type of player that they might be, right?
Yeah, we tried this year in our form. Like we said, where'd you go to
Yeah.
high school, and give us your Instagram so
Yeah.
we could
I see.
kind of narrow it down. But
Like
still at
gauge.
the same time, it's, you know, a lot of people, if they post anything on their Instagram,
Yeah.
it's they're 1v1s at LA Fitness.
Yeah, yeah.
And some people are just like the park legends. Like they're not
Yeah.
really posting anything. They didn't really go to school to play basketball, but they just are at the park every day playing
Yeah.
pickup.
Yeah, so I mean, it's again, I don't want to. We're not by no means making sure nobody gets in the league.
Yeah.
Like we want everybody to be involved, but I don't know. We'll see who these people are when they show up
Yeah.
next year.
It seems like this is, like, you're being called to kind of grow this thing a bit, right?
Yeah, I want. Obviously, we wanted to. Like
Yeah.
this is what we dreamed of.
Yeah.
But you know, now that it's actually happening, we got to have a plan in place for how we're going to
Yeah.
do it. We'll
What
have
does
to
your
sit
old
down.
man and them think? Like,
My dad is a very hands-on
Yeah.
when it comes to this sort of thing, and I love him. If he's listening at some point to this, we do butt heads every now and then. Sometimes, you know, this is like,
I know how the old heads get.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Especially
like
when he's a
stubborn.
business guy.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, well, I want to do it my way. And
Yep.
sometimes for me, I always think I would rather do it my way without having your training wheels and crash and burn than to have your training wheels the whole time and think to myself, oh, well, what if I would have done this and
Yeah.
not listened to
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
I would rather you pick me up after falling off the bike than
Yeah.
just shoving me along the whole
I
time.
see. You know what I'm interested in, man? And I'm trying to get this out of you. Like, it seems like you're really humble and you're giving a lot of credit to everybody else. Like, this guy's doing it, you know, she's doing it, but, like, you seem to be like the keystone of the whole thing. So, like, what is your role?
I would say like making sure everybody, I guess, does their job.
Yeah.
I would say is probably it, because when it comes to the captains, I got to check in. Hey, did you check with your team?
Yeah.
Did they?
You're like the
have-
overseer, it seems like.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
have 5 guys for this week? Or, you know, when we're setting up for the games, my mom and I, we help set up all the tables and chairs and benches. And then I set up the live stream that we have, which,
That's
I mean,
awesome.
that's not, obviously I'm not going to take huge credit for that. It's not like
Yeah.
rocket science, but again, I'm no greater than anybody else who's a part of this when it comes to it. It's really a collaborative thing.
I think he's like the Kanye of the league. He's like the visionary. Like, he's the one who has the picture and
Yeah, the creative mind.
yeah, and then
And just like, all right. So now I was gonna
and
ask,
then
like,
deploys his troops to,
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
it all done.
would you rather move more in the direction of like, I guess like I'm trying to find the way to structure the business point of view. Like, would you rather water that side of your personality more, like take the business more serious, become more of like the business figure, or would you rather go more in the direction of just being the player and keeping everything else like self-sufficient, like where you can just enjoy the game of basketball and like with this empire that you built and just let it work on its own, or would you rather to just like keep watering that going forward?
You guys have tremendous questions. I can't wait
That
for
is a
you
good
guys to
question.
blow up because you guys ask great questions.
That is a good question because I was wondering the same thing. Like, because dude, this can be a legit business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be huge, man.
I mean, it's tough to balance. Like, I have thought about it. I thought originally after this year, I thought, you know, we're in the semis. Fingers crossed we win the chip. I said if we won a chip this year, I'd retire.
Really?
Just because it was just...
You would do it, though?
I retire on top. Knock on wood, I pray.
Yeah.
I had conversations with my teammates all the time. Shout out to Titans. I can't tell you how badly I want to win. Like, it would mean the world to me. I want it so badly. But...
It's gonna be like the Brady effect, though. Like you're gonna get it done this year, and you're gonna fucking want 5 more. Of them, so,
yeah, hopefully. But it's a great question because I think I want to step back because it's almost too complicated.
Yeah.
If I want to grow, to still be a part of it.
I
Like,
get that.
For the awards, okay. Let's say we make it to the championship and we lose, I still have to stand up there afterwards and present the trophy to the winning team.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas if I was an unbiased
Right.
individual and I could do it and not have any skin in the game.
Yeah.
So that's where it could get tough in some areas.
Yeah.
But I think the business side, I could have a lot of help growing with the people around me, but I could still be a part of it in a minor way for the not maybe the overall whole league, but in some parts,
That's interesting because a lot of times when you see guys who are building businesses and it's beginning to grow like yours is or your passion project is, they get to a point where they need to step out in order to handle all that's being thrown at them in terms of the demand of you know what they're creating, right?
Yeah, I mean it's just like I love it. It's a lot more responsibility, but you think in your head, like if you think of anybody who starts something, it's because they like what they're doing and they like what's being put out. Yeah. So obviously not being able to partake in what I thought was a great product is going to sting a little, but again, the growth of it is all I could ever ask for, and I'll substitute playing in it for it to continue to grow.
So
go ahead. No, I was just gonna say that's the reason I asked.
Yeah. Do you think that, like, I'm wondering, do you guys do like dunk contests, 3-point contests?
Yeah, we just did.
You know what would be cool? Like an all-star game, then you would play in the all-star game. That'd be sick.
We just did that this past weekend.
Oh, really?
Oh,
yeah, we had our all-star weekend. So Friday we had we start out with the underhand free throw competition. We start out with that because, you know, as fun as it is, it's not going to get a lot of eyes glued on it.
Sure.
Then we do a skills competition. Then we did a 3-point competition, a dunk contest, and then our all-star game.
That's sick.
And it got a lot of people showed out. It was a lot of fun. We had this mini pancakes vendor came out, and they created. It was amazing. They had these It was a tray of pancakes, and they put strawberries, whipped cream, caramel, all this stuff on it. It was delicious.
Dude, this sounds awesome.
And they showed out. And so hopefully down the line, we'll have a bunch of vendors at each of the events.
That's one thing. Dude, I really want to come out to a game, but I don't know. What's the schedule like? Because this upcoming weekend, him and I are going to be busy.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what the date is there. Is this upcoming weekend the last weekend?
Yeah, we have semis and then championship. It's all good. No, because... Listen, hopefully we're every season we'll have something going on.
Yeah.
So.
Well, next season I hope it's even bigger than it is now.
Pop out. But I'm really interested. Like, what are the games like from a fan's perspective? Like, what's the turnout? What is there to do around the whole event and stuff like that? Like, what's the games like at not being a player?
Yeah. So if it's like a regular Sunday, no rain, we'll play outside at our house, and I'd say at any given time we have 60, 75 fans just sitting out there.
That's sick.
And that's not counting the 10 guys on each team and then the workers of the whole thing. So there's like an extra 25 people there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they normally sit along the wall. We have this wall, and then my dad, we're sponsored by Stubbies. Shout out Stubbies.
Is that like a restaurant in the area?
They bring subs and pizza for every game, so you can.
That's awesome.
Stubbies.
Yeah, and then we have a merch table, and just as for the games, you're gonna be eating pizza, eating subs, and watching very entertaining games. There's never a boring game, really. I don't think we have. Former D1 players. I mean, the guy on my team, Ant Pinkard, the guy, I don't know how he jumps so high. It's like has a 40-inch vertical, it seems like, and he's just cramming. So it's very entertaining.
So do you have any like secret sauce, like anything that like you're thinking about doing that maybe you have on the hush right now or that you didn't bring up to us yet? Like, is there any like creative vision you have going forward or anything you really want to implement that you're working on doing?
I feel like you guys are like reading my mind right now.
Yeah,
because I was thinking
we're connected here.
Yeah, we have a great vibe going on.
Yeah.
But
That's awesome.
I was thinking this December, I really wanted to do. I don't know how it is for you guys here, but do you have like an LL league or like a teams you normally play against in high school in regards to sports?
What do you mean by
I don't
that?
know what you mean.
Like we have an LL league, which is it's just a division, I guess, within the Lancaster Lebanon League is what it is. So we play against Columbia, Elko. These are just other high schools.
Okay.
Columbia, Elko, Northern Lebanon, all these schools.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of alumni who are very close with the schools. So what I'm thinking is over Christmas break, the BBAL will sponsor a sort of LL Legends tournament.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Where you get all your best alumni for basketball to come back to your school, and it'll be a tournament over the weekend with all the best players from the school. A school will host it in their gymnasium.
That's pretty cool.
And it'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Get a lot of people showing out just to support their school, obviously, and alumni.
Yeah.
Not just people who go to the school, but the alumni. And, you know, we may be $500 to put your team in, but the winning team, that amount of money that's accumulated goes to their athletic department.
Oh,
so
that'd
you'd
be
want
sick.
you want your school to win, and you have people boosters from the school alumni really wanting to push.
I don't think
That'd
we
be
have
teamwork.
anything like that.
No, I don't think so either.
We have like leagues. Like
We have that one team. Like, what's the one team from around here that's like really big? That like, I forget the name of them.
We have Clutch.
Yeah,
Which is like
that's
a
what I was
semi-pro
referring to.
team, but that's not really like a school oriented team.
Yeah.
There's also like leagues at Minor Park. I don't know if you're familiar with Minor Park. Probably not. You're
I'm
from
not.
Lancaster. Yeah.
Yeah, it's right down the street from here, but it's like,
It's like the biggest park in the
yeah,
area.
I guess our city's biggest park. But ever since like we were very young, that's where everybody would go and play basketball. As of late, they've been having like a lot of
Tournaments and like,
yeah,
stuff
tournament
like that.
style matches going on there. Like they have the whole court, they got refs there.
It's not affiliated with any of the schools though. I don't think.
Yeah, I
think
don't-
it's
I
something
really don't
completely
know.
different. Honestly,
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Like think of the Big Ten, I guess.
Yeah.
That's just the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Like teams you consistently play
Yeah.
within your division, but we're all so close to each other in location based that I think if we could get a pretty good showing if we did something like that. I got to obviously figure out the regulations and insurance and stuff like liability.
How does that work? Like I would imagine you guys aren't paying like fucking health insurance for every player.
So when they signed up, one of my buddies, he's Jackson Houston. I'm gonna shout out everybody on this
Yeah.
podcast.
Oh,
Jackson
Shout out
Houston.
Jack Houston.
Talk
That's a
about your
tough name,
people.
too.
He one of the smartest people I know created a sort of liability form and waiver form
I see,
that
yeah.
when you signed up, if you got injured, we're not liable.
Yeah.
If we put your photo on our T-shirt, we're not liable for
Yeah.
name, image, and likeness and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So when we started the league, if we're going to post about you, you agreed that it wouldn't be a problem that you're going to be put out on Instagram too. At the time it was 700 followers, but now it's 31,000.
That's
But
fucking nuts, man.
yeah, it's wild.
So when will the next year start? Like when do your guys' seasons typically start?
So I'm hoping for the wiffle ball will start at the end of September. And I'm so excited for wiffle ball because
Really?
I'm so bad at baseball, but it's just I think the sports I'm the worst at I enjoy the most
Really?
because I don't have any expectation. Where it's-
That's the thing, man.
I
We were
can
just
go
talking
out.
about that with Jordan Galasso. Like,
Oh yeah.
we just had this dude on who has it's like a meal prep business and
Yeah.
kind of services everybody in this area. And he's also migrating to other states and stuff like that. And he had this really cool idea where if you just let go of your expectations, you can just get rid of all your anxiety. Because ultimately that's where your anxiety stems from. Like, I want this to go well. So that's where anxiety kind of stems from. But if you just we're indifferent to what happened, then it's just like,
yeah, I mean that's 100% right.
performance. I'm just chilling. Right?
Yeah, definitely. So that's why I think wiffle ball. I mean,
Yeah.
I had to stop after t-ball because I couldn't hit it off a coach who's underhand. I was just not good.
Damn.
And wiffle ball, I'm excited for. That'll be end of September,
Yeah.
and then that'll probably run till the middle of November, and then our football league will start the beginning of December.
Yeah.
And then that ends beginning of January. We only do really 4 weeks because the last week of the season was freezing out.
Really?
It was just
That's what I was going to ask before. I mean, like being that we're from Pennsylvania, like I would imagine, I mean, the winter got to be rough for you.
yeah. Yeah. I mean that we had to postpone one of our games
Yeah.
because it was so cold out. I wanted to play And of course,
Dog.
yeah. And of course, you can think of my brother Liam. Like, I'm gonna go out there sleeveless.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out there without a shirt on and warm up like that. I don't need any heat. But my mom's saying one of you's gonna get frostbite and all this stuff.
Typical mom activity.
Which she's at the end of the day probably right.
Yep,
probably.
And then that will end in the beginning of January. That's just 4 weeks because honestly, that takes a wear and tear on your body. I mean, you said you played football. Did you play football?
Yeah, my whole life.
Yeah, 4 weeks of that tops 2 months of basketball.
Is it flag or is it tackle?
It's two hand touch, but just like I don't know if it's the different movements for me and basketball. It's not, basketball. I feel like you're not really full out sprinting all the time, whereas in football, there's points in football where you're really just everything you got. Yeah. Whereas basketball, it's like jazz.
That's the cool part about basketball, man, is because it takes the most finesse, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Like basketball is the smoothest sport that there is. I actually used to have this argument with my friend Pop, shout out Ryan Maffei, and then all of his crew. We used to argue about like, and let me know what you think about this. What sport do you think requires the most athleticism? Give it some thought. It's obviously subjective, you know. I played football. You play basketball, so you might be biased towards your own sport. But if you really think about it,
well, okay. Position-wise, in every position in basketball, I feel like there's a certain level of athleticism that needs to happen. Whereas in football, the quarterback's not really – the quarterback's the most important player on the team, and he could be the least athletic person.
Yeah.
But see, the way that the game's evolving, though, is the quarterback's usually the most athletic guy in the field
nowadays. That's
I agree.
Football really made that transition recently.
I mean, it's a great question. I would argue, I would say basketball, but it's also there's a less sample size of players out on the court.
Yeah.
You're dealing with 10 people on the court versus football, you got 22.
Right.
And there's bound to be somebody who's not as athletic.
Well, in basketball, you can also consider that like the professionals are 6'4" and above, so these guys are literal giants, and they're like, think about a guy like KD, how big he is and how lengthy he is and the way he's able to move. Like, think about the athleticism that's required for him to be able to do what he does. It's ridiculous.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. For guys to stop and start on a dime, jump, 40 inches off the ground.
Yeah.
And I honestly made the argument that basketball is probably the sport that requires the most athleticism.
I would probably agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Do you think football players would be better at basketball or basketball players would be better at football?
Ooh.
Well, remember when there was like memes going around that LeBron was going to play in the league? He was going to play like tight end, and people start getting scared, like, oh shit, and like, because those guys are super athletes.
Yeah,
but football guys are too.
I mean, you talk about that anywhere though. Like, picture like a wide receiver like fucking Jamar Chase playing basketball. He's just gonna be dunking on everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, so that's very interesting.
And I think who was that tight end that played basketball his entire life until they got up to college and then tried out for the football team and then went pro in football? I think it was
Tony Gonzalez.
I think it was Tony Gonzalez. Yeah. Like, I think he was a basketball player his whole life.
Yeah.
Which made sense. Yeah,
I thought you were talking about Kyler Murray at first, but I was gonna say that wasn't basketball, it was baseball.
That's a good question. I think, I don't know if basketball players, like, I was just making this joke with my friend Malik, like, football made a lot of basketball players.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You ever heard of Bull in the Ring?
No. Oh, Bull in the Ring. Oh, yes.
You ever heard of Bull in the Ring? Bull in the Ring has made more basketball players probably than
I get what you're saying. Yes, you're exactly right. Yeah.
I don't know if, no disrespect to my basketball guys, but I don't know if they're physical enough to be able to handle like what is required of football.
That's why I always thought about basketball.
Right? Like,
but you didn't play football at all?
No. I mean, I did. I have a funny story. I started when I was in like 5th grade. Signed up for the football team. Everybody's about it, Pee-wee football.
Yeah.
So excited to go out there. Huge Eagles fan. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be the next Donovan McNabb. I'm going to be quarterback. I go to what was Hell Week was the first week. I thought it was like tryouts, but he just said, if anybody wants to be quarterback, try and, go try for it. And I don't know if this guy was the best coach because it really was super unorganized. I go up there. I never realized that when you had your pads on, it's a lot harder to throw a football. My first throw, duck. Couldn't get it past 10 yards. And that was my first time throwing with pads on. So already I'm getting glares. And then I'm embarrassed. And it's my first day. I'm like, all right, I'll prove myself, later on in the year to be quarterback.
Yeah.
It's like day 3. Going to this drill, which was just, I forget what it was even called, but it was literally you're in line and one guy has a football, the other guy doesn't, and you just run at each other, and whoever's
Okies.
standing,
Yeah,
it's probably
An
that.
Okie drill.
the Oklahoma drill.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oklahoma.
And it was whoever's standing at the end wins that drill.
Yeah.
I'm in line with my best friend Tyler.
Yeah.
He's two guys in front of me, or he's a guy in front of me. He's counting the other line who's in front, and
Dude,
I'm not
that's
paying
the worst.
attention.
Because then you're like looking like who's third in line. You're like,
And then you're like, oh, I'm lit. I got him. But then somebody cut the line or somebody fall back. And then
you got the fullback all of a sudden.
Yeah. He's counting in front of him, and I'm not paying attention. He says, Johnny, can you go in front of me quick? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem.
Not even thinking.
This
Right?
is like
failure.
10 people in line.
Yeah.
I get to third,
Yeah.
and I see who I'm going up against. This guy's name's Jordan. Everybody has this kid, the kid who hit puberty before everybody
Yep.
else.
Yeah.
This guy was 12.
Yep.
He looked like he was 21.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there. I'm like, Tyler,
Yeah.
come on, come
guy aim
on,
low.
Tyler, you're scoring 20 touchdowns in a season. I'm just starting out for the first time. You can't let me go against this guy. He's dying laughing. He
Don't
thinks
do me
so
like
funny.
this, Tyler.
He says, no, you got it. Like, you can do it. You can do it. I go up there.
oh,
And
man.
I'm shaking before we even
Oh,
start. I'm like,
shit.
gosh, this is so bad. Yeah, I'm skinny now. I was a toothpick
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
He's laughing. Everybody's, going, yeah.
That's the worst.
And then
Let's
I'm
go,
like,
Johnny.
oh my gosh.
Johnny boy.
Yeah. But the thing was, when everybody was saying Johnny, they were laughing. But with Jordan, they knew he was about to
He was
run
probably
me
growling.
over. Yeah.
It's on the other end. Yeah.
This guy runs me over so hard. By the time he hits me, all I remember is my feet were over my head.
Yeah.
I don't remember the motion of hitting my head, and everybody's going, "Ooh!"
Yeah.
And then all I remember the coach saying is, "You're not going to feel that now, but you're going to feel that tomorrow morning."
Yep.
And I was ringing, and I remember I got up, and it was at that point.
Basketball.
I was like,
Basketball. That's a good way to put
it's-
it.
That's the
football
same-
ain't for me.
Same thing that happened with Gabe Springer.
Yeah,
Gabe Springer,
we were
dog,
just talking about
he's
this
like
shit too.
he's like 6'9" playing football, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be the next wide receiver." And then
Yeah.
next thing you know, Bull in the Ring happens, and he's on the court shooting his shots up.
yeah, I mean, luckily it worked out for him, though. I
Yeah.
believe Gabe's doing pretty well with his basketball.
What about Liam though? Liam must have been a different breed, huh?
Well, he didn't start playing football till his freshman year, and
Oh.
he's always been. If you look at our brothers, my
Yeah.
older brother is the best older brother I could ask for. Like, when you think of older brothers, I always think of a nicer version of your dad, like somebody who's gonna be a role model in a
Yeah.
way, but not be as hard on you.
Yeah.
Give you life tips, stuff you can't talk about with your dad, like
Yeah.
girls or
This is
stuff like
Jebby?
that. Jebby, yeah.
Okay, Jebby.
Liam, my younger brother, always been the goofball of the group.
Yeah.
Like, chubbier guy, learned how to take it on the chin, funniest probably in our family. I mean, type of guy who will moon you at dinner at a nice place, like just
Yep.
does not care. So his freshman year, he starts playing football because he just was friends were doing it and he just wanted
Yeah.
to play. He's a hockey guy though. That's what he started out.
Interesting.
I mean, and if you look at him in hockey guys aren't normally the tallest guy. Liam's like 6'4". He was a monster out there. He looked like a giant amongst like midgets.
Yeah.
So he starts playing, and then by his senior year, he starts to actually do pretty well with football, and he's matching hockey. And he thought, all right, with football, I'm really dealing with, 350 million people in America, whereas in hockey, you're dealing with Canada, you're dealing with Europe, Russia, all those people over there.
Yeah.
So he said, all right, I'm going to do football, goes to Temple, and he went from the chubby kid to in shape, kind of skinny-ish,
Yep.
to to put on a lot of weight, and now he's at like peak at 240, 6'4", like
Damn.
muscle.
Yeah. What
Like-
position does he play? End?
He's tight end.
Tight end.
Ah.
Yeah,
Nice.
he did play. He played defensive end in high school, but now he's tight end, and he doesn't play a lot. But I mean, those programs are like.
I mean,
Yeah.
Temple's crazy.
Big.
Temple's
Yeah.
a huge D1 school.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. Like only starting to play when you're a freshman. Weren't we just having a conversation about that the other day? Like what sport is it easier to get in early on versus like later on in life? We were talking about that with Jimmy, I believe.
Yeah. With
And,
fighting.
with like fighting specifically. I think we were talking about like jujitsu and boxing and those kinds of things. But it does seem like football is one of those positions that can be picked up and learned pretty quickly. I don't know if that adds to our whole football conversation in any way.
Kinda.
So I don't know.
I mean, he does bring up how. I don't know football. I never played, never looked at a playbook, but he says he sometimes even still. I think that's the part where he may struggle just with the playbook and the language. It's like a different
Yeah.
language.
It is true.
So with him, I mean, he's fine now, but when he first got to college, he was looking at the playbook like,
Yeah.
I had no idea what any of this is saying.
Yeah, that changed real fast for me and football. Like when you were younger, it was, I mean, football is a very physically dominant sport, but like as you get further in the years of high school, it becomes way more systematic and way more mental than you would ever imagine it being. Like when I was a senior, our playbooks were, it like I don't think it was like week 7 or 8, like towards the end of the season before I even had like a full grasp on the playbook.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
That's insane.
What was your basketball career like in high school? And did you play any college ball at all?
No, I did not.
You go to college?
Yeah, I went to St. Joe's in Philly.
Okay, cool.
Which is right by Temple, which was great. And that's, going back to how close our family is. Liam's at Temple, 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
My older brother went to St. Joe's too. We were all super close. My younger sister, she goes to Delaware. But in high school, I went to Lancaster Catholic. My freshman year, sophomore year, I was on the JV team.
Yeah.
My sophomore year, they won leagues and districts, which was a big deal for our school. Leagues. See, we're at 4. You guys do 4A classification stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, now they were 4A.
Our high school now, we had a
6A.
scenario.
I'm assuming you're 6A now.
Yeah.
Because the consolidation I was telling you about. Yeah.
Yeah. we had 3 big schools combined. His school, our guy, Brian, he went to Coughlin. He and I both went to Myers, and there was another school, GER. They all combined. So now it's this big Wilkes-Barre area school with just a lot of people that go there.
Yeah. Well, so for leagues, the leagues was probably a bigger deal than districts because with league championships, you're playing against people in the league, but you could be playing against a school that's a 6A or a 1A school, and we're 4A.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're playing against. Have you ever heard of McCaskey?
McCaskey?
No, sounds like my
no. Kevin Kaskey. No, I never heard.
McCaskey is a huge school, Manheim Township, big schools, like 6A schools. So we're playing against teams like that in leagues. We win that. It's a huge deal. And then we went on to win districts, which was, we play in you guys know the Giant Center, right, in Hershey?
Yeah.
We play there, and that's, I remember my sophomore year, I didn't play. I swung. I played, like I sat on the bench. I didn't play.
Yeah.
But I remember I thought I need to play on this court. Like the Giant Center, you're playing in front of these many fans. Not that many fans, but just the whole arena.
It's crazy.
And so our program's been pretty good. We're your typical white basketball team. We're fundamental.
Good,
we run
good bucket on the end.
Good
on
coaching.
the corner 3 guy. That was you, wasn't it?
I would sit in the corner every now and then. But we obviously had some great players, but it was more the system rather than the players when it came to us.
Yeah.
And obviously, we weren't all white, but I'm just saying that in terms of, it was really focused on everybody's got to buy into this. Not a lot of iso ball. We had plays called 20 pass, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, in a way, to bring it full circle, with learning how to envelop yourself in that environment in high school for a basketball team, it really helps you become more organized just in life as itself. You really got to buy into stuff, become organized.
Yeah.
You got to realize you're not the center of it all. There's a team that goes into it, and you're just as valuable as the guy next to you.
Yeah, man, I got that impression that it seems to me that sports have been very impactful on you.
Oh, 100%.
And I think it was Kobe, but I'm not sure if it was Kobe, but there's a quote that says that sport is the ultimate test of your character. And it's a real good it's a real good vessel for expressing who you are as a person, right?
Yeah.
And going back to what you were saying about how you and your squad was really system like based, that's something that the teams in our area really struggled with. Like we always had super good athletes in this area.
Crazy.
But we could never get it together on like the system part of it and the coaching staff part of it. So I'm telling you, there's crazy athletes from this area, but we can never figure it out in terms of like working as a team and then buying into a program.
Sorry.
No, you're fine, man. Go for it.
I was just going to say, that's not an easy job for a coach.
Yeah.
And that's why I love our coaching staff, Clazis, Heisey, shout out McCaskey, all them. Great. What they were able to do, I could never do in a million years. So back to what you were saying, I was just saying it's hard to do.
No, I was just going to say one of our friends back then, like when we were playing, made a great quote, just to finish off what you were saying, that we were all great friends, but we were horrible teammates. Yeah. That's like what everybody
It's something we struggle with here, man. Yeah. Like the Wilkes-Barre area sports program always struggled with like ego and individuality and then lack of a solid foundation program.
So I'm in the Nook League right now. And
Spooky Nook?
The Spooky Nook. Yeah. So, sorry, I said that like
Nook.
I'm in Lancaster. But and I play with a bunch of my best friends.
Yeah.
We're not the most athletic. not the most talented, not the fastest, strongest.
Yeah.
But we played together for so long, and we come from the systematic style of basketball where we go against these teams who, you know, you'd look on paper and you're like, we're going to get run out the gym by these guys. But I always think, to some degree, the fundamental style of play is going to outdo the athletic because there's something to be said when a game gets close. Who's going to shoot that shot? We're comfortable with giving it up or, you know, accepting our role in position, whereas another team, they could have a guy scoring 30 one night and then the next night another guy scoring 30 and it's like, well, who do you want shooting that last shot?
Yeah, or the guy's really good, but he might be a hothead. He might not really be a team player. He's not like he's pretty selfish with the ball. Huh?
You kind of see that in the pros right now too, what's that one league or the one team that has a bunch of like star players on their squad? I think it was the
Lakers.
The Lakers,
believe, right?
They had Braun, Westbrook, they had Anthony Davis, right?
Yeah,
and they had a hard time putting it all together because of how many studs that they had in their squad.
I mean, it's just, and that's again, completely give credit to my coaches on that. They were unbelievable, taught me communication, and I think they get a bad rap every now and then, but I think in the long run they really taught us something to be said of, you know, character and being a good basketball player.
Because that translates into life and in business.
Yeah.
Yes. You have to be a team player, man. You have to know when to step in and when to step out. When to allow somebody who's better than you or smarter than you to do something that they're just better and smarter than you at.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think everybody's capable of it. It's just a matter of, and that's why, I mean, this is another conversation, but coaches, I think, are some of the most important people I've had in my life. And just teaching me the ways of just life lessons. I mean, I remember in practices, he wasn't just talking about basketball as a whole. If you weren't listening to what he was saying during the drill or what he wants you to do, he'd always bring up, well, how are you going to listen during your job if your boss tells you to do this? You know, how are you going to listen to your teacher if she tells you you're doing the homework wrong? Just situations like that where it really, you know, brought it outside of basketball.
Yeah.
And the people that he, you know, worked with all the way from me, who I was definitely a hothead going into high school, and turned me into, you know, a good, I would say, level-headed player who doesn't lose his temper as much, but I still do.
Those coaches are so important, man, and they don't even realize it.
Yeah.
Like those coaches that are able to be like somewhat, like they're obviously your coach, they're obviously not really your friend, but they're somewhat of a father figure to you.
Yeah.
We have one guy. Why I did. You never got coached by Dame, right?
Yeah, Dame. I had Josh.
Yeah. So yeah, we had this one coach named Dame Saxon who was literally just like how you just described it. Like he was the guy that was spitting all the game. He was also the guy that was like right behind you and making sure you were pushing yourself to be like the best version of you. He was the guy that we had on our podcast twice. He was like the only coach that I like that impacted me that much. But that's so important for like a young man's life at that time, and they don't even realize it.
Oh, definitely. I mean, think about, you're in high school, you're going through so much stuff growing up. You're really starting to change, and you know, you're dealing with all these emotions.
Yeah.
And you're going in after failing a pre-calc exam,
Yep.
and you got to go to practice for 2 hours, sweat your butt off, and you're doing stuff wrong, and he's trying to teach you lessons, and there's a perfect balance that's got to come with it. You got to enforce, but you can't come off too hard, because if you do, you lose the player.
Yeah,
and man. You know, just, and that's why I think all the players are so close. Every player I played with in high school, I would consider brothers. Like,
That's awesome.
I could talk to them at any moment, any time of day. I could hit up any one of them right now and just say, like, yo, hope you're doing well. Love you, man. Stuff like that.
That's sick. So, who's the best athlete in your house?
In our house.
Who's the best brother?
In regards to sport, I'll get to Liam.
Yeah?
Yeah, Liam's, he's,
6'4",
I
240
admire
pounds.
his transition that he's gone through. I think that's incredible. But, you know, he's better than me in football. He's pretty good at basketball. Hockey, I can't skate, so he's got me in that. He's better than me in golf.
Tennis.
Tennis, yeah, I got him
You'd
in that.
smoke him
And
in
in
tennis?
pickleball. Pickleball, I'm not bad. I'll say that.
Yeah?
I'll brag
What-
about my pickleball game. I ain't bad at that.
What's the
Pickleball's
pickleball
getting
craze? Yeah, like,
popular
what's
as
that
hell
all
nowadays.
about?
You know why I think, for me at least, I think it's better? It's easier for you to get better at than a tennis.
Really?
Tennis is so much harder, whereas a pickleball ball, it can't go that fast.
Yeah.
You have a lot more reaction time, better with placement situation. It's more about accuracy when you're hitting it. And, you know, typically I'm playing against older guys, so that's why I like it.
You're just smoking the old guy.
Yeah.
You get to be the
But,
young guy.
I don't know. It's just it's more condensed, but it's a lot slower in a way.
What are like the actual is there any like actual physical differences between the game of tennis and the game of pickleball? I don't know if I understand pickleball.
I don't even know what pickleball
So pickleball is it's
Is it like
Let's pretend
paddles,
this-
right? Is
Yeah,
it
it's
something-
paddles,
yeah.
and it's like pretend as you're playing with a wiffle ball.
Okay.
So pretend we're playing. This is a pickleball court. There's a section of the pickleball court that's called the kitchen,
Okay.
and you can't step in there. You
Don't
can't-
go in the kitchen.
Yeah,
you can't take the heat.
yeah,
Gotta stay in the kitchen.
exactly. So you're playing this whole time in this back half of the court.
Yeah.
And you're hitting it back and forth. It doesn't really bounce. It's kind of like, in Wii Sports tennis, where you're just like hitting it back and forth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
where you're just in it. It's kind of like that for a bit. Like, I forget that other sport. But besides the point, you're pretty much doing that for a bit.
Yeah.
And then it's really just paddling back and forth until whoever loses it. Whereas in tennis, there's a lot more ground to make up. You can do a drop shot, make them, at the duck board, and then hit it over their head, situations like that. And you can still do that in pickleball, but in pickleball, I think there's a lot less of a skill gap from beginner to average. Whereas if you're a beginner in tennis and you're playing an average tennis player, you're going to get smoked.
Fucking smoked.
Yeah.
Right? Tennis players are legit, man. That's a crazy sport. Now, do you play it on like a regular court? Like, is it a regular tennis court? Because
No,
I've never
it's a
seen
lot-
like a
it's
pickleball
smaller.
court.
It's
Really?
a pickleball court,
Yeah.
right?
I've never. That's what I'm saying. I've never seen. Like
I would
a
say
pickleball
like
court.
the size of this room is one half of the court.
Really?
Like, and then the other half is.
In terms of length, or like facing that way, like from like wall.
I
to
would say
wall?
length. I would honestly say to that wall to here,
Oh wow.
and then width. I'd say like 3 more feet on each side.
Interesting. How does it? There's so many sports that like I always wonder how people find how they find that path. Like, you remember the other day? Obviously, we were doing what we were doing on the weekend, and the people were throwing like the hammer throw, for example.
Yeah.
Like, how do you pick that up?
Yeah.
Like, how is that like? One day you're just like, I'm gonna grab this ball on the end of a wire, I'm gonna spin around and fucking throw it for the rest of my life. Like,
As far as I could. Fascinating.
yeah, no, it's very fascinating. I don't get it. Like, I mean, I understand like if you want to play football, if you want to play basketball, if you want to. I mean, those are like, I feel like it's gonna sound fucked up, but those are like just regular sports like that. There's like regular, measurable avenues to like just play those sports or to discover them. I guess if that makes more sense.
No, I highly recommend. If you guys haven't played.
How often you playing?
I mean, I just got for my graduation gift. I got 4 paddles, so I get
snap.
3 of them away to my friends. We got
Taking
some
the shit.
pickleballs now, so we can play more often. But I'd say I'm gonna try and play more often now, like 2 or 3 times a week.
Wow.
Because
Taking this kind of seriously, huh?
it's good cardio too. You get a
Yeah.
good sweat going,
Got to.
and something different than. I'm not saying I get old at basketball, but you like to switch things up.
Yeah.
So what's the plan in terms of like diversifying your brand to like fit these other sports? Or are you more or less just worried right now about creating the brand behind BBAL and like just focus on basketball for now? Or like how do you plan on transitioning into those other sports going forward? I know you said you do the wiffle ball, the football, but like how do you how do you separate, or is the goal to like separate them, make them their own individual entities, or do you want like one big like BBAL umbrella over like all your sports?
Yeah, another great question. So when we went through the process of turning this into LLC, it's actually the BAL, the Besecker American League.
Ah, okay.
Where now it makes it a lot easier for, like you said, the umbrella.
Yeah.
So branching off of that is the BBAL, Besecker Basketball American League, or the BWAL, Besecker Wiffle Ball American League. So
I was gonna say women's. I was about to say we're doing women now.
No, but I think the central point of each of these leagues is the same. It's player focused.
Yeah.
We're gonna give you stats. We're gonna guarantee at least one cameraman there every week. You're gonna get jerseys down the line. Maybe not the first year, just because we may not have the money, but there's going to be blogs about you, written stuff. It's going to feel like a community for those months that you're playing. You're going to feel like you're actually a part of something once again, rather than showing up once every Sunday, forgetting about it until 5 o'clock the next week, and you're like, oh, shoot, I have a game at 7.
Yeah.
I got to go.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting transition for you to do that, though, because, like, luckily for you, you came from, like, a heavily basketball-based background.
Yeah.
So it was very easy for you to transition from that into, like, running a business that completely revolves around basketball. But I wonder how challenging it'll be for you to, like, say a sport like soccer. Like, you might not really give much of a fuck about soccer or understand it in any way, but, like, you kind of have to self-teach yourself and then like find a way to implement it in which it makes sense for you.
And that's where I'm lucky with just friends.
Yeah.
Like with football, my brother kind of took the reins with that one because he knew what we wanted. And obviously I followed football very heavily, but I'll never understand it through the football playing perspective.
Yes.
What you would want on the field, how you'd want it to be run.
Yeah.
What would be more beneficial. With football, we weren't playing on a full-size field. It was a little more run and gun, a lot more stats. You know, in 4 games, our QBs were throwing for 1,200 yards. Not realistic.
Jesus Christ.
But, you know, that's more attractive to someone playing in the league.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I had 150 yards this week in a touchdown.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when you're throwing for 600 yards. You know?
Imagine like going to a bar after that and telling a girl like, I threw for 100 this weekend, a couple TDs.
Yeah. No,
That's
so
crazy.
and with soccer, you know, I have close friends who play soccer. And they were interested in it. So just again, one of those things where I have faith in everybody to kind of run that. They understand, you know, the vision, and I believe that they'll be able to fix it in a way that'll work for that certain sport community.
Yeah. So do you think that this is something you always envisioned as it is now, or was your original vision surpassed?
I definitely, I really want to grow it. I went back and forth on what I really wanted this league to be. I thought originally for a bit, I thought this would be kind of a circus in a way. So this summer we're in Lancaster, next summer we're in Philly.
Oh.
So it'd get different communities involved, and we run out a certain place for those 2 months.
Yeah.
But then after this video, I got people asking me from different states, hey, can I come to you, rather than can you come to me? And that was interesting to me because I originally thought, all right, I'm going to have to expand. But if people are willing to travel to me, then why expand? If we're bringing people in, that's not only good for the league, but it's good for Lancaster.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have people probably not moving out, but, you know, hotels, local stores or restaurants or bars are going to be more willing to sponsor for certain events and things. So that I definitely went back and forth, but I really did. I always told myself, you know, the 0.000001% makes it professionally.
Yeah.
That other 99.99999 is still searching for something, and that's my market. So that's where I think
that's a good idea.
That's why I think we can grow so big, because I'm thinking, what's the limit? You know, everybody wants to play. So far, out of the 130 people who have played, nobody has said, I don't like that, I'm not coming back.
Yeah. So are you guys focusing heavily on like the social media end of it now? Because I feel like that's something I won't say other sports leagues necessarily lack, but I think that could be one of your guys' biggest like ways in gaining a lot of traction for your league. It's like just like social media content. I know you said you live stream them. Maybe like any form of like creating YouTube content videos going forward. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
So with Instagram, that's definitely our main. Instagram and Twitter are I would say our two main things. We have the website, which is great. Yeah. I think that looks great for if you really want to find out what the league is about and to follow it. There's good descriptions in there and the shop in there and the stats are up there. But with Instagram, if you just, you know, you want to look through the league, get a quick summary, you can find the highlights. You can see the leaderboards of who's really leading the league and stuff. And I think social media is where we're really going to focus. Yeah. And in terms of getting sponsorships, that's where I'll talk to somebody and I'll say, hey, look, you know, we're averaging 50,000 views on our Instagram a week. If you give us a certain amount of money, we'll post about you once a week. You know, you're the team of the week sponsor. So Titans are the team of the week presented by XYZ.
Stubbies.
Yeah, Stubbies. Yeah. So... Which, you know, if you guys come out, I'll take you there. That's
that's sick.
Great.
We gotta come out to Lancaster.
Yeah, no, we will. That just sucks. It's so unfortunate how like the time. Like
I'm sorry. It was just.
We might have to catch a football game.
Yeah, or even be in the celebrity event. You guys will participate.
Out there toting a rock. How are you gonna do that? See, when I was in school, I was a lot bigger than I am now. So like when I was in school, I played offense and defensive line.
Really?
Mainly, yeah. But now, like...
he lost like 40 pounds.
Yeah. So
wow.
Now I don't know what the fuck I'd be doing. I'd be out there running routes too. That's like... I got to get into that realm a little bit now.
Yeah.
You might have to do the Besecker mixed martial art competition out there. Head kicking.
Besecker BJJ.
No, I'm just kidding.
So that's funny you bring that up. We have... So our... You know, I brought up how families fight. Our cousins, they get in arguments every now and then. And they swear, our cousins, Kurt and Eric, I don't know if they'll appreciate me saying this, but I don't, unless I send this to them, I don't know if they'll see it.
We'll clip it for you and we'll send it to Kurt.
They get in arguments all the time, and they always talk about fighting.
Yeah.
like boxing. Oh, I beat your ass, stuff like that. And they're never the same way. One's 220, the other's 140. It's like, well, you're never going to even it out.
Yeah.
So they said they'd get to 170 was where they agreed. If they get to 170, I will promote that. Like I
sanction it. You can be like, you can go from
Paul.
Mark Cuban to Dana White overnight.
Yeah.
You can sanction a fight.
That's a welterweight bout, son.
over the moon to promote that thing, because I think it would be, number one, the funniest thing ever. Because it's just like two cousins fighting. I would love to just promote the hell out of it and see where that went. And so, not that I want them to fight, but if they were, you know, you got somebody who'll promote it for you.
So you're just slightly planting that seed every now and again, like, yo, how's the weight? How
you catching up on them Labanzas.
Are you at 150 yet?
That's the $1 million BBAL business play, is to just halftime of every basketball game, you got to have the top 2 scorers just fucking go one round in the cage to see who comes out. And then, like, if some guy is severely outscoring the other guy, he has a chance to fuck him up, take down his competitive edge a little bit.
So, Johnny, what do you think it takes to build a successful brand / community? Because you're doing it, man.
Again, I feel very lucky with our friend group. And I know a lot of people, when they talk about their high school, they lose that friendship. All I brought up about the teammates, my high school friends, I talk to them every day still. And I think I'm lucky in that realm with connecting that Lancaster community still. So I had a good foundation. But I really think it's about if you were to start something, it's making sure everybody feels like they're doing a role that would be important or useful.
Yeah.
So I know with all these guys, and not because I could do it, I just want them to do it. I can't do it. I need them.
Yeah.
And if you have a big dream and passion and you bring them along and make sure they feel necessary, I think that's huge to keeping people involved and wanting to continue on the journey.
That's insightful, because people are feeling that they matter in this whole thing. So because of that, they're going above and beyond to fulfill that part.
Yeah, definitely. And checking up with them. Like look, I'm a mama's boy. I'm a bit of a sweetheart when it comes to things. Like, I'll check in with these guys and say, look, if you need something else, let me know. Like, are you feeling good with what you're doing? You know, I hope everything's all right. Is your team showing up? If you're having trouble with your team, let me know. I'll talk to them, because obviously if it's coming from me, it's a little different, because they know, you know, I mean, business.
You're the big honcho.
The transparency is valuable, because, I mean, you see in a lot of sports today, there's like a huge disconnect between commissioners and players. Like, it seems like they're always at each other's throats. So I feel like, and I'm sure like it's a lot harder when you're dealing with 32 teams that have 100 players on each team. Like, at some point, like, the business is just going to get crazy. But I feel like that transparency between you, your people, and then all the players is just so valuable for an organization.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad with all these players in this league. I can name every player in the league first and last name. I feel like I've had a conversation with each and every single one of them. And a lot of these guys I just met 2 months ago, and they're great people. Everybody's great in the league. And I think just creating connections with people it's funny, because we actually were on, you guys know WGAL, right?
Yeah, we just watched that.
So I was, and that's kind of really the overall point, obviously making it player focused. But for me, in the back of my head, being able to see my friends every Sunday in a huge group setting every week, like,
that's awesome.
Really, what else could you ask for? So, and I think, you know, to keep growing that friendship group and keep seeing new people involved in the league and add into your relationship and networking. Not that I'm using for networking, but just people to know. And I think that's my favorite part about it. Just knowing more people.
That's a beautiful way to look at it, man. I'm happy that that's your shtick. That's like what's driving you to do all these crazy things that you're doing. And it's very like personal. And I feel like on our end of the spectrum, it's like very relatable. What you're trying to do and what we're trying to do. So
you guys got a great thing going too. It's only a matter of time before you guys hit like 100K.
It's crazy, man. Like, being inside of it doesn't really seem that way, because we're constantly just like putting out fires, like trying to solve problems and make sure things are going right and continually innovating. But yeah, we'll hope so.
No, well, I know so. You guys are gonna. I was very surprised when I walked in here how professional it was.
I don't know if you know him and I are cousins.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
And then our guy back there, long-term friend. Same thing like you were saying. We've all known each other. We've actually, like, this very group. However many years ago was that?
Yeah, I don't know.
We like from a very young age, we were all like, oh, we're gonna start a YouTube channel one day. Like, we're gonna fucking.
And that's great. That's what it's all about, doing it.
Yeah.
And that's like what you said though, like that's very important because a lot of people, I know in terms of what you do, and I also know in terms of what I do, a lot of people always say like, oh, like I'm going to start doing that, or I'm going to try to do this or whatever. Like a lot of people are really big on talking, and a lot of people don't ever actively take the step to do it. And I feel like what you're doing is one of those things. Like he was saying earlier, I mean, we've all known people that wanted to do something similar to what you're doing. And they always say, oh, like I'm going to try that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this camera and try this, but they just never do it.
Yeah, and that's a tremendous point. I didn't create the wheel. Like I'm sure so many other people had this idea, but I was just lucky enough in a situation where I have friends who are going to be committed to it with me.
Yeah.
And I had the platform where we have a court outside, which is so nice, and a court we're able to rent out. But again, that's really, if I was to preach to anybody who was to do something like this, just like keep your head down and work.
Yes.
And you guys would know better than anybody. Like if you're going to see results when you just put your head down, work, it just comes. It'll happen at some random time, but it'll happen. And again, you see people who say, I want to start a YouTube. 2 months, maybe they're consistent, and then after that, it's nothing.
Falls apart.
Yeah.
Consistency, man.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's what it is.
Find a schedule, stick to it, a routine, stick to it, and know your vision, like what you're trying to do. I think like if you have those couple of things, everything else is so much easier. Like for me, I'm never worried about like going to edit a pod or going to make a clip or coming to do a show or whatever. I'm never worried about any of it because I just know like what we're doing or what we're building towards, and that just makes it all worth it.
Yeah, definitely. It's seeing the big picture, but not getting overwhelmed by it.
I mean, that's a hard part too, man. We were just having those conversations before we started this pod, he and I, just like how overwhelming shit gets sometimes, and like just trying to battle through the adversity of finding yourself as well as like trying to build a brand and a business and a YouTube channel, and like those things could butt heads a lot of the time. So on that end of the spectrum, it's a little difficult, but I know like we were made to do this. Like it's not like
you guys are naturals. So.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Took time, bro. In the beginning, we kind of sucked.
Yeah,
and not to say we're great now.
Yeah, we still do now. Like I said, we run into problems all the time. We had a huge interview recently that we fucked up with the audio
with the UFC fighter.
Yeah, an ex-UFC fighter.
We had instead of that thing that you have here, this mic stand, it was like a tripod, and he just sat too far from it. And we forgot to remind him.
So that was last week. You guys brought that up to me.
It was
before the pod we were mentioning. That's like why we.
That's who it was.
Yeah, so like we run into little problems like that all the time. It's like it's never ending. Like he was saying before, it's like you're just constantly putting out fires. It's like what it is. So, but at the same time, like my theory on that is it weathers you to learn everything that is necessary and knowing to do what you want to do. Like you have to go through all the problems in order to know how to solve the problems, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's just the only way. I feel like, well, not the only way, but the absolute best way to learn. If you're doing it just by going into it head first, you're going to learn so much more than if you were to teach a course on it or try and,
absolutely,
go by the book and read step one, step two, and then not actually applying any of it until.
No.
Like you were saying, trial and error, man. Like only you are going to like understand what it means to like for something in your realm of expertise here to go wrong. Only you will really understand that. It's very hard to verbalize to other people like the problems that we experience here because to other people it just doesn't make sense. Like you got to go through it yourself, I believe.
And I think in regards to, sorry to cut you off, but it just with what you were saying, I think that in retrospect when you think about the issues, like is it really the end of the world that the mic wasn't that far away? No, but when you're in the middle of it, it's such a big deal. And that's why I think sometimes it's hard to communicate with people because they're like, all right, like you're overreacting, but in your
a lot
head,
of emotion involved, bro. A lot of emotion involved.
Especially when it's your thing. I mean, I'm sure you understand that too, of like when it's your craft and it's like your art and something goes wrong. At least me, I know I internalize it and I feel like a lot of it is on me. So like I take a lot of like personal digs at myself when shit goes wrong because I know that it basically all boils down to me or us in our regard. You know what I mean? So
there has to be a necessary amount of emotional regulation. In these endeavors that you're getting yourself into. Because if you're too emotional and things start going bad, you won't be able to handle it because things inevitably will start going bad or at least wrong.
I mean, it's funny you bring that up, just like being super emotionally involved with the league. Like I'm so passionate about it, and I'm sure you guys are the same way when stuff isn't happening right away. And that's why I try to preach it. It's like it's so hard to stay the course. Before this year, and you know, I'm about to graduate college. Everybody's getting these internships and having actual jobs set up. Like last summer, it was people had internships. I didn't have one. I was running the league.
Yeah.
And then this summer, it's people have full-time jobs, and I have, you know, nothing.
Yeah.
So when I was...
Yeah, I mean, you can't look at it like that. That's I've battled with the very same things. But I think, and it's like what we talk about all the time, instant gratification versus like the journey. Like,
but think about it, like, bro, this endeavor, this is your internship right here. Like, what do you imagine, like, the stuff you're gonna learn doing this, or that you already learned doing this, like, unmatched.
Yeah.
No, definitely. I think, well, first off, I'm not good at editing, but I learned how to use stuff like CapsCut or iMovie.
Yeah.
I learned how to, you know, I guess run a social media, event planning. I do that every weekend. I learned how to.
Your management style is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's just, again, I'm sure you guys learn a ton of stuff about tech too, just by being in the industry that I would have no idea.
You learned
like this stuff. I have no idea what it is.
we didn't either when you first started. But there's so many like translatable skills you learn just by doing like these things that you never envisioned would be a part of your life going forward. Like just so many areas and avenues of your life like get improved because trying to do something like this.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, I think that's what's so special about when you try and start something on your own. Yeah. If it doesn't work out, you take so many traits and feathers in your cap to take with you.
Johnny, one of the last questions I got for you is, what was the most difficult challenge in building the league and what it is today?
Excuse me. I would say in the beginning of doing this, people were skeptical because it was like, well, why are we starting a league? We're not going to play pickup anymore. You just want to monetize everything and stuff like that. Even though the first year we didn't even charge money. But that was kind of the first issue, the friend group. Not the friend group, but obviously, yes, the friend group was iffy on, you know, is this really the best idea going forward? Are we, you know, creating something that used to be so wholesome and just family and now opening it to other people? Do we really like that? And then the second year was, I mean, this is more minor, but with we got jerseys our second year. And I remember preaching to everybody, we need jerseys.
Yeah.
Like, I think it looks so good on paper.
Yeah.
And on Instagram, if you look at a league, and it could be the worst players possible, but if everybody has matching jerseys and you have a team, it helps create that marketing brand and something that attaches and attracts eyes. So that was, you know, a tough bargain. I'm still in debt to my mom and dad for them buying the jerseys, which hopefully one day I'll pay down the line. But
you will, man. One day it'll all fucking add up.
And then this year, obviously, the growth, I was come on, 700 followers. I was hoping to get to 1,000. That was a big deal. But we were sitting at 700, and I was just thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do if this doesn't grow. I'm having trouble getting sponsors. It's really the only way I'm getting sponsors is through connections, which connections is great. That's how you get through in life. But, you know, I want to create my own, you know, through something. And then that TikTok blew up, and that was a huge, huge benefit to us. So
bang.
Exactly.
That's the game. That's all it fucking takes too, man. And that'll probably happen to you another 2-3 times before you're really at where you want to be. There's going to be so many times. I know, like, I battle with that a lot of, like, when it seems like shit's just not making sense, it's not going right. But then, like, you always get a moment of realization or, like, just, like, a bone thrown to you, similar to, like, what happened to you. And it makes it all worth it, and it makes it all make sense in that way. Some days it doesn't, but if your vision and your idea of what you're trying to do is pure, then I think things like that are endlessly going to happen.
It's like it's the little steps, I think, that sometimes, I mean, those were major ones throughout those 3 years, but it's little ones that I think make it all worth it when you think of the you know, when you're going through it week by week. It's like, oh, this stinks. But every Sunday, I can't walk away from that and think, oh, this wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, just seeing that many people show up and seeing people enjoy it.
Yeah.
And, you know, people having pizza, eating fun, listening to good music, like, it's hard for me to walk away from that.
It's all about the journey, man.
Yeah.
They say
100%.
They say the man who loves walking will walk far further than the man who loves the destination.
Huh. I like that quote. Yeah. I have a list of quotes in my notes. I'm going to put that in there.
He's a quote factory. He got them all.
So,
I was just going to say, more than anything, man, like, regardless of what happens to you in the future, like, with your brand and your business and everything, like, at least you can say that like you gave people, like you are going to take up memories for people. Like you're creating memories for families, for individuals, for players. Like I think that's cooler than anything. Like even like running it up $1 million business, like you created a moment in time for people that can never be taken away.
I think that's funny you bring that up because just being, it's so weird I thought of this, but being on a plane is sometimes when it's just, you know, there's no external noise. You're looking through your photos. And I was just in Spokane visiting family, and I was going through the photos, and I'm thinking, like, to your point, it is wild when you look at old photos and you're like, this is where we started.
Yeah.
If this was to end tomorrow, like the stuff we still have is something that we'll look back on when we're older and have kids and say, you remember when we did that league or something like that? And it's, again, not only is it memories, but it's experience for everybody in terms of getting, I think, even the captains can put some in their resume for something like this for how they helped. And
you really said it, man. Like, we did it. Like, that's, I think, that's almost cooler than anything. It's just to say that, like, you had an idea, you had a plan, you had a mission, you had somewhere you were, or just something you were trying to do, somewhere you were trying to get, and you just did it. That's what fucking more can you ask for? Yeah.
Stop and enjoy the view, man.
Yeah, I know.
Climbing the mountain, stop and enjoy the view, right?
100%. It's like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. If you don't look around every once in a while, you just might miss it. So.
Yo, who's the GOAT of the BBAL league?
Who's the GOAT?
Yeah.
That is a very good question.
Forget the NBA. Who's the GOAT of the BBAL so far?
There's only one player who has been MVP and champion, and that's Devin Atkinson. Shout out to him.
What's he like?
Captain.
What's he about?
I would say he plays at DeSales right now.
Oh, okay.
He is the most motivated, fiery player, but also a great leader. My senior year, he was a sophomore on our team, and he was one of the leaders on our team. Okay. Like that's just to give an example of who he is. All-state football player, too. Great, athlete. Unbelievable athlete. You look at him, you think this guy, you know, eats 4 for 4s every day from Wendy's. Like, he does not. I mean, he looks a lot better now, but back in high school he didn't. But I would say honestly, he won MVP the first year, or no, he won MVP the first year. He won a championship last year. Had a 40-point triple-double. I mean, he's unreal. He plays a lot like Luka. Not the most athletic, but
how tall is he?
Like 6 foot, 6'1". But again, we're transitioning into more, you know, different players. So I think this is a special year in terms of we have our original crew, and next year we're going to be moving on. So these first 3 years, the go to the first 3 years, I would probably say is him.
Shout out him.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny, I'm really inspired with what you do, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh, you guys too, man.
I'm really grateful that you came down to Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, 2-hour trip for you, man. You were the first person that ever made like the real trek.
Yeah. No, I'd do anything. I really appreciate it. You guys got a great thing going on, and it was really just a real casual conversation. You guys are very welcoming. So.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
So, Instagram, BBAL.
I think it's Lancaster_BBAL.
Okay, Lancaster_BBAL. Go check them out on the gram. Also, this merch.
Grab some merch.
Where can they grab this merch at?
Super fire.
It's a super long link, but Besecker Basketball American League.
Nice. Well, it'll be down in the description. You guys can just go down.
It's on the IG page, right?
Yeah, it's on there. Yeah, you can. There's a link there for it. So
nice.
Right. And you know what would be really cool? I was thinking about. We had a Globetrotter on the podcast.
Really?
I think it would be dope. She's a woman. She's a woman Globetrotter.
Mia Mighty Hopkins.
Mia Mighty Hopkins. I think
that's awesome.
Send her to a game. That'd be sick.
No, that's why this has got to be something we weather, and I definitely want to stay in touch because we got to make the trip now. We got to come.
Yeah, 100%. I'll come back here again.
Give you Jerry's. We got to get you Jerry's. And then
you got to get us Stubbies, right?
Stubbies. Yes, Stubbies.
All right. Hey, Johnny, again, thank you, man. I appreciate it. You're dope.
Thank you, guys. You guys are awesome. I'll definitely be back soon. So.
Say less. Yeah, we wish you endless success, man. For everybody at home, we love you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend. Keep on pounding, son. We love you guys. This is another banger episode. We will catch you guys in the next one.
GG Pod. Peace.
Peace.